Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to One Hub P2 Tier for season number 27. My name is Jake. I'll take you guys through this evening around the circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Joined alongside me for the season, of course, is Mr. Jamie Met92, who is feeling quite exhausted after his P3 race. Jamie, how are you doing this evening?
Yeah, I'm feeling very good. I'm excited for this. Good race, and yeah, it should be a good one. Got near the full lobby, and yeah, if it's anything like last week's race, it's going to be a cracker.
It certainly will be a cracker. I mean, I was saying this on the pre-race or the pre-race talk show. That's what it's called. I was talking about this earlier with Jess. I'm still impressed as to how all of P2. I mean, the only tier that had absolutely no stewards reports whatsoever. I can't remember the last time a tier had no stewards reports on their first race. So obviously, I say fantastic, well done to everybody, and obviously one DNF being Mike's wheel issues from last week as well. Hopefully, he's gotten them sorted out. But I'm sure we'll get some either spin mics or either drift mics as we had last week as well, if it has been fixed. So that's always nice to see. But yeah, I say round number 2, a very interesting race as to what happened out last week, wasn't it, Jamie?
Yeah, it was very interesting. Obviously, we had the change weather in qualifying and the race, and well, I have to say it was very interesting. Obviously, we did expect to see some slick running. We didn't really get slick running. We tried for about one lap, and I tell you what, in that race, all them guys in the dead inters, they didn't glad it finished, because in the P2 race, at the end of the race, it looked like it was about to be full wet. So if another lap was on that race, we might have seen a few guys really struggling. But yeah, it was a great race, a brilliant win for Papa Squanch. Despite all the carnage, he was on pole and won the race. So despite all the carnage, the poor guy still did win. Obviously started on the intermediate tyres and struggled to the first couple of laps, but then once the track started to dry out, it really worked well for him, and he managed to bag the race win.
Yeah, it looked like that P2 was the only one that actually had the ones that started on the inter tires actually made it work, which was quite surprising, to be honest with you, considering that it was heavy rain at the start of it. But, the likes of Papa Squanch, the likes of Larkin, both made it work. I think Mikey, if I'm not mistaken, also started on the set of the inters just to get going with that, and again made it work. Bit of obviously disappointment probably from Solal, and I'm sure he probably wouldn't mind saying that he was expecting to be trying to top or trying to win the race, of course, at Silverstone in the first race of the season. So I'm sure he's looking for a bit of redemption for this evening as well. Of course, in terms of strategy-wise for this evening, or in terms if you haven't seen the pre-race talk show with myself and Jess earlier, it is going to be a dry qualifying and a dry race, light cloud to overcast in the qualifying, and then pretty much similar conditions in the race as well. So it's an all dry race. It'll be the first time we actually see these guys in the P2 tier, obviously, other than the preseason race, which no one was able to, which we didn't stream. But it'll be the first time we actually get to see what capable pace that these guys all have in a set of dry conditions.
Yeah, I think today we'll get to see more of a preview of what we have this season, because I say last week it was sort of a bit of a lottery with the way it went. So yeah, I think today obviously a fully dry quali, everyone will get. You can get 4 runs around here in Canada because it's a short track, and yeah, the one we watch out though for around here is the rear tyres. It's a very rear limited circuit, and then rears, as I have experienced earlier, they do go off quite quickly in the race, so that's something to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, of course. And just, of course, as showing on your screens now as well, it's going to be a 35-lap race for this evening, 14 corners around the circuit, most of which being a chicane. And so it favours quite a lot of other drivers, but most drivers don't particularly appreciate it. 3, of course, DRS zones on the start-finish straight, just after the first sector, and then, of course, that long straight just before the final chicane by the Wall of Champions as well. And I wonder how should we try and keep count as to how many drivers we're going to see just tap that Wall of Champions for this evening, do you reckon?
Yeah, I think if you don't give it a good tap, you're not really pushing hard enough. So yeah, I think we'll definitely see that. I had a few other scary. My scariest moment in the race was actually coming out the pits on the safety car. I dipped through on the grass of the pit exit, and I almost spun. I didn't hit a wall. I did in practice, but in the race I didn't. And another thing to watch out for as well is them pesky 3-second time penalties. That could have a major factor in our race tonight. I won't be surprised if the whole field gets a 3-second time penalty.
Well, I mean, they were quite good with it last week, but there were definitely a few penalties in terms of actual, track limit warnings and stuff like that from last week. So, with it being Canada, more likely to get their track limit penalties, and again, most corners being chicanes. Yeah, you are right. I do expect there to be quite a few penalties handed out this evening. I hope that's not what's won in the race, but I won't be at all surprised if that is going to be the case as well. As I say, it's very sort of tough in trying to avoid penalties around Canada. And it's one of those tracks, as you say, as long as you keep it clean, you're bound to get yourself a good result without any penalties. Again, I think that showed that within the P3 tier this evening. So I expect the exact same coming into P2 and even for P1 as well with those guys. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it's going to go down. Of course, this being the second round of the season out of 12, as you can see on the rest of your calendar. After this evening, we have got a nice little week break. Purely because of the bank holiday next weekend. And then at the very end of August, we are back to round number 3 at Zandvoort. Of course, also replicating the real life Grand Prix there as well. So, yeah, as I say, I say we're almost approaching a third or a quarter of the season already, but I mean, there's only 12 circuits, so you can say anything about that. But we are just about to be looking into the session now for yourselves. As I say, dry qualifying all around. Any early predictions as to who you think might come out on top of this one, Jamie?
Oh, that's a very difficult one. There's a few guys and contenders. I think he nearly got pole last week, but I think Salau might get pole this week. I think he seems quite quick in the qualifying sessions, and he seems to do a bit of practice in. So I think Salau might be a cheeky bet for pole. Also, I'd say watch out for Rich. You know, Rich is very good in qualifying, and He showed that in the GOAT Championship early on, so I think Rich could be another contender for the pole. But I think them two might be the two favourites to pole.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be some speculation as to who's going to come out on top with that. You know, you got your likes of Larkin, you got your Rich, you've got Papa Squanch, Solal, Moggs. How I've now known that is how you pronounce it, is Moggs, not Maugs.
Moggs,
Moggs,
yeah.
he had a pretty good race last week as well on his debut. So I expect both of the Aston Martins to be looking pretty decent around here. I did mention the fact that he has wheel issues, but I do tend to know that Ivory Mike is decent around Canada, I've got to say. From what I've seen in previous games, I don't know if it's going to translate into this game, but from previous games, I've got to say Mr. Ivorbrin Mike can be pretty decent around Canada. So I wonder if that is going to translate in this, or again, if we're going to see any either spin mics for this evening. But we are now loading into the qualifying session. And finally can get this underway for yourselves. We have updated the overlay as well, so it is now properly. You will now be able to see the lap counter. Obviously, apologies last week that you weren't able to see it, but we have sorted that out now. So that is all updated with that. And yeah, I just expect to see quite a few people make their way out onto the pit or out of the pits very, very shortly. But who's going to be the first one? It looks like it's going to be one of the Williams drivers.
Yeah, Rich 500 it is. He's coming out the pits and see how he does. And obviously the Williams team having a good race last week, getting the win, and they'll be looking to get back-to-back race wins. And see how he does. And yeah, see. How do you? We've seen different drivers approach outlap. How do you approach an outlap? Do you go aggressive in the outlap, or are you one of these guys that does it really slow? Because I have to go aggressive to get the tyre temps in. I don't know how you take the approach to the outlap.
I normally wouldn't try and go too aggressive. I think the best thing to do is to try and not do it as aggressive, but to try and at least have some form of speed with it. But not to the point where you're almost like pushing on an outlap, because otherwise then when you actually get your lap done or towards the end of your actual lap, you might end up cooking your tyres that bit much more. So just to have maybe a tiny little bit of pace deficit at the start of the lap, I think benefits it massively come towards the end of the lap, especially and around this track, especially that last chicane where it is so easy to invalidate. I mean, we might even see it with a few of these drivers. They get this and next lap when they go through this final chicane. Rich taking it very nice and cautiously, but yeah, very easy to do that.
I had that twice in my course. I showed it twice, and it's so annoying. I only got one proper lap in, but thankfully it's a good one. He's going to approach these 4 chicanes. If you like chicanes like curbs, you'll absolutely love this track.
Yeah, you certainly will. So, Rich just going through turns number 4 and 5 now, made his way out towards turn number 6, and at the first sector split is a 19.638 for himself. Going to be trying to take these chicanes as nice and neatly as possible, but also as fast as possible, using that overtake down in towards the second DRS straight for himself there. A little bit wide going out of that, or just underneath that tunnel section there, or underneath the bridge, shall I say. At the end of the second sector, though, the split is a 42.0, so we'll have to check on a few of the other drivers to see if that is any good or not. I know Jess is just behind him on a lap, so we'll keep an eye out on her one as well. But Rich now in towards the third DRS straight, or the third DRS zone, the long back straight. He's running low on the battery, so he may need to do a little bit of saving in this final chicane. Take it as fast as possible, try and ride as much of that curb as possible without getting an invalidation. Has done so. Up towards the line comes Rich 500. It's a 10.296 to kick it off in the P2 tier. I say Jess just behind him. See what she's able to do is a 10.815, about just over half a second behind Rich's time there. And I say a few more people are just making their way out on the board there, Jamie.
Yeah, I think drivers on this first lap, they won't give it full send. I think they'll just make sure to get a lap out on the board. And interesting to see two different approaches there. We saw Rich take that tight line, obviously near enough to where the grandstands are. We saw Jess take the wide line, the natural race line. Well, I tried this earlier, and I think the line Jess did was quicker. So it'll be interesting to see how these drivers approach that tonight. We've got more laps on board there. Larkin's done a 10.3, another good lap there. I expect pole to be in the mid-9s around here. I think once people get full up temperature, I expect 1:09 to be a pole position lap. We've got full lobby. It's good to see. And Papa Squanch is in 1:9s already. So yeah, the Williams boys on top already, and see if that can last. As the times are coming in rapidly. And good lap there by Mike in 5th. it looks like he maybe has got them wheel issues sorted with that lap time.
Yeah, I said hopefully he has got that sorted out. I mean, from the looks of things, he has, so that's good. And then, yeah, a few other people have just come across the line to finish their laps. Moki putting it into a P7 with a 10.746 just behind Mike. Solal putting it into second position, so splitting the two Williams boys up there as well. So Papa Squanch showing the pace of what he was setting last week is now continuing that fast pace around here as well. Did like a little practice race, I think it was yesterday or the day before, around Canada, and yeah, Papa Squanch was pretty much keeping up with me in on that side of things. So yeah, I think he is definitely a contender for this evening to for a potential race win, or for a second race win in a row, shall I say. Of course, we've seen in the P3 tier, Jacob has won both of the races so far. Let's see if Papa Squanch is going to be able to keep up that trend of the first race winner also being the next race winner for this evening. But yeah, we've pretty much got all times on the board now. Only two drivers yet to put a lap on the board, both being Rydog and Waze. But I think Rydog is actually on a lap just coming through that final chicane now.
Didn't take it, had a bit of a moment there on the final, hit the curb, had a bit of a moment there, slide. He definitely lost a good couple of attempts there. It was 16th, but there's more lap time on the board there because he didn't take that final set to how he liked. So only Waste his last guy to finish lap. I believe he invalidated his first lap, so this is his second lap on his tyre, so it may not be the optimal lap time, but you'd want to get a lap time on the board for sure. As his teammate Vitinho, we've got connection issues, so hopefully he can get them sorted during the race. As how Waze can do, going down this back straight and I tell you, braking for this final chicane is so tricky. You've got to nail it. If you get it just 5 meters wrong, then you're just in that wall. But he takes it very nicely there. He's going to take the tight line, approach line. What can he do? Had a good race last week. He's up to 13th, so all the drivers got lap time on the board, which is good to see.
Maybe there's not going to be as many penalties as we thought if everyone's put a lap time on the board this early on in the qualifying. So very nice to see in terms of that. But Papa Squanch, the one sitting out on top, just 0.3 of a second up ahead of Solal in second, Rich in third, looking for a bit of redemption from last week. Larkin in fourth, Mox in fifth. I remember Mike in sixth, also looking for a bit of redemption from last week after those wheel issues with himself. Mopi in seventh with Jess in eighth, Lawrence in ninth, and Fade rounding out that top 10. I've got to say as well though, Jamie, both of the Kick Salvers in the top 10 could play a bit of a dark horse threat in these guys.
Yeah, obviously, Moki new to the league. He had a really good practice session. I did the best race last week, just out the points. But obviously, Lawrence on his return, obviously, he was the season 25 champion in this tier, won it at Canada as well. So he's got good memories of this track. Obviously, took a break last season. He's actually making his first ever. This is his first ever league race on a wheel. So he used to race on pad, now he's on wheel. So we'll see how he progresses for the season. I'm excited to see how Lawrence does. So I think he could be a guy to develop during the season as he gets more comfortable to his new input device.
Yeah, it certainly is. Like, you just got to get that much more comfortable with all of that. And I think, as you say, he looks like he's getting into the swing of things now with that. I'm sure he's done plenty of practice, not just around Canada, but in just other tracks as well, to try and get as much lap time as possible out of that steering wheel that he's using. But in terms of someone that was on a decent lap who is now invalidated out of that final corner, Mr. Rich 500 was into the 109.9s other than invalidation out of that final corner. So as I said, that chicane, it can be absolutely brutal and give you a this and next lap. So he's just going to have to come back in the pits and swallow that one, unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely. Mox is on a decent lap here. According to his timing, he was 6 tenths up out of sector 2. Obviously, I'm not quite sure if that's accurate or not, but we'll wait and see. Can he get this right, this final chicane? Oh, I think he carried a bit too much speed in the entry there, lost out on the exit, so he probably lost a bit of time there. Across the line, and he goes, he goes on pole. I was wrong there. It looked like he carried too much speed into the chicane there, but he actually managed it perfectly. So there you go. Mox into pole position. Let's see what Papa can do, see if he can improve. We know that Rich is capable of it, and we'll see what Salo can do. I believe he's invalidated a lap, though. I believe he might have dreaded next, and this lap invalidated.
Yeah, very unfortunate for Salau in that one. But yeah, let's ride on board with Papa Squanch then. Of course, last week's race winner, a 10th down on his time at the moment in the first sector, but there's a lot to play for as he rides that curb, has a little bit of a tank slapper coming out of there. So I think he's just going to back off on that one.
Yeah, he's weaving, yeah.
That one. So that's his lap done with that. It's gone board with Larkin, actually. Again, very good contender to Papa Squanch from last week. Again, he was tipped to be my favourite for this season, but from how Papa Squanch was racing last week, very close on pace with Larkin on that. So He's still, I still tip Larkin to be the favourite for the season, but he's definitely got a lot more competition than what I was expecting. But at the end of this second sector for Larkin, a tenth and a bit up on his time, puts him at least up ahead of Solau and also Mopey also jumping up into third position. So like you were saying, Jamie, we're going to start to be seeing a lot of these guys drop their time now from the 111s to the high 110s now. I say Mopey now into third position. Is Larkin going to try and follow suit in that? Out of the final chicane, he comes in that Red Bull, using that overtake all the way up towards the line. Larkin is going to put it into a 110.342. Lost out a bit of time in that second and final sector, so does make an improvement, but it's not enough to jump up a position.
Yeah, you get that soften though, you're like 2 or 3 temps up and you approach that final chicane, you just see that the delta just diminish massively, so that's a bit frustrating there for him, but he's right in there in the mix. And so shout out to Jess as well, obviously your first time out of the bottom tier, 7th on the grid so far at the moment. That's a really good that there by Jess, so yeah, she definitely scored had a solid point scoring finish last round time out, and she's looking at again even more competitive now this week, which is great to see. As anybody, I believe Mike's invalidated, so I thought, so we'll see anyway. Lawrence about to finish up. Lawrence only second lap here. See what can he improve? He's going to take that tight line like everyone else seems to be doing across the line. Can he improve? He moves to 9th place. He's in the 1:10. So yeah, believe now what we're seeing, as I mentioned earlier, that drivers, they've got a lap on the board now. They're going to take more and more risks as the session progresses.
Yeah, and that's kind of what you want to do. You want to get a banker lap on the board, just at least then you've got your position there. As Solau now chucks it up into top on pole position with a 109.616 for the Mercedes. Very, very good lap time. It's going to be quite difficult to beat with all of those guys there as well. Just running on board with Waze, who's just come out towards the end of the second sector, just coming out of the hairpin now and down the long DRS straight. He's got the Williams in front of him. I believe that's Papa Squanch just making his way into the pits. Oh no, sorry, that's actually Rich. Just starting on a third out lap for himself. So yeah, we'll have a look on board with the Williams very, very soon. But Wade's up towards the line, up to P7, a 110.511. And I've got to say here, Jamie, the times are quite compact to each other. Obviously, other than Vitinho there, I mean, from, what's that, 7th all the way down to 19th for split just under a second.
Yeah, you tend to see in these one-up things, the middle tier tends to be the most competitive because you obviously probably get all the drivers which are sort of too quick for the bottom tier, but not quick enough for the top tier, and they sort of all converge. And yeah, it's very impressive to see. And Vitinho's on that now, so I'll keep track to see if he does improve. But yeah, it is quite impressive. Vitinho's 4 temps up, so he may get into 1:11 with that. But yeah, I'm quite impressed by how close it is. And look at Mike up to 4th place. Wow, Mike, he said he was a good rank candidate, but wow, that is very impressive now. That's I sort of missed that. But yeah, Mike up to 4th place. Great lap.
Very good lap from the Welshman, and as I say, looking for that redemption from his wheel failure last week out in Silverstone. I believe that was Whipping Proverb just making an improvement up to P10 with a 110.6. Rich 500 does not invalidate out of the final corner. Has a massive wheel wobble though, because he knows that it lost him a lot of time out of that final corner. Oh no, he did invalidate out of that final corner, sorry. So yeah, same thing happened again to him. Very unfortunate, as I can see that he was very annoyed at himself with that. Yeah, is now going to be having to go back into the pits to try and get another lap on the board. I'm just trying to figure out as to how much time is left on the board. It just still shows it's yellow flags, but yeah, probably I think roughly around 5 minutes left.
I think 7. Yeah, I think it's 7 minutes. Got yellow flags. Obviously, the yellow flags come up when a car's on a slow lap. About 5 minutes to go. So yeah, these guys, they should have enough tyres, because if you set the soft drops, you do get 4 sets of softs. And I think this is a track where you do 4 runs naturally anyway. But if you bought laps and stuff, it should be no bother. So these guys should not really run out of tyres tonight in the qualifiers. And that's why they did lobby restart, because it makes qualies a lot more exciting. Also, it helps us do our grid penalties. There's no grid penalties tonight, but that will happen in the next couple of rounds, and once people start taking the engine and gearboxes.
Yeah, they certainly will do. So we'll see what's going to happen with this one. Mogsy's just coming up towards the final chicane. He was a 10th and a bit up on his time. Took that chicane very aggressively. That's what you need to be doing in terms of that. Up towards the line comes Moggs. 109.452.
Oh, nice lap.
What a lap time that is for the Aston Martin. Chucking that up on the pole position so far. A 10th and a half up ahead of Solau. Papa Squanch has now got it all to do in terms of trying to make a massive improvement on his lap time. He is up on his time though, 3 hundredths of a second up on his current time. It's not going to be enough to beat Salau and Moggs, but is he going to get close enough to maybe put a bit of pressure onto the pair of them as he makes his way up around the final chicane now, and up towards the line comes our current championship leader of Papa Squanch, and it's not an improvement.
No, he lost time final sector. Didn't must have been you got the hair chicane a bit wrong there. You lost time. You see the frustration there because he knows he's capable of a better lap than that, and just didn't fall his way. And his third place is still not bad, but half a second—that's a lot of time to find in a such a short lap. So it's going to be very difficult for him to overcome that.
It certainly will do. Hopefully, you know, he'll be able to get on board with that. But I mean, he's actually got to get himself back into the pits, recoup, and then go again as well. But just riding on board with Solau, he's going to be the first person to complete the final lap of this qualifying session. I don't think he'll have enough time to go across the line and get another one done. So we'll run on board with the Mercedes now for a nice little cheeky hot lap for the P2 tier. Coming through turn number 1 and 2. Of course, the first chicane, there being the Haas on the outside, not impeding Solau at all through that. Up towards turn number 3 and 4. You want to take that chicane as tight as possible, but not to the point where you invalidate on that lap. So you will not be doing a hot lap with Solau in terms of that one.
About hot sector there, I believe, as Rovan Probe has been disqualified for blocking the pit lane. I believe he must have spun come out the pits and was trying to recover, so that will demote Probe, who had a great qualifying in 10th. That will demote to the back of the grid, and well, that's a disaster for him. That's an absolute disaster. That's not what you want to see.
No, it certainly isn't. So very unfortunate for Rovan Probe. We're going to be starting at the very back of the grid. Riding on board though with Rydog. I'm sure, to be fair, when we actually have the lobby restart, might be able to sort something out in terms of that, because I think he was just moving out of the way of everybody, and it just showed that he was blocking the pit lane. So he might go off of the lap time that he had just at the end of that session before he got disqualified. But on board with Rydog at the moment now, just coming through that hairpin and coming up towards the final chicane. DRS now wide open for the Haas driver. Both of the Haases have a bad start at Silverstone. I think they probably wish that they could have had a bit more of an improvement on that, and I'm sure we'll be able to see that throughout this evening. But he comes up towards the line. Moggs has had the same thing happen to him, so again, I think we will be having some form of restart with that. Rydog up to the line at 110.724. Yeah, I think there's definitely gonna be something sorted out with a few of the admins at the lobby restart, because I think that's just a bit unfair that a lot of these guys are getting put down as an invalidation when they're just moving out of the way when people are coming out of the pit lane. So very unfortunate with all those.
Yeah, obviously you can get the qualifying times on the race director, so if you take a screenshot of that, and should be alright. I'm not sure how that works, but hopefully they will get their proper grid position back, because it'd be unfair if they get sent the back grid for doing the right thing.
Certainly will do. So let's have a look at who's going to be the first ones to complete their laps. I'm just seeing, because it says there's a few people out on laps, there's a few people out on outlet as well. Benjamin is straight into the pits.
Lawrence.
So he's going to
Lawrence started his lap, sorry. He started his lap, sorry.
Yeah, so Lawrence is going to be starting his lap. Welsh Benjamin into the pits, so he's not going to be able to improve on his time. 15th is going to be the best he's going to be starting at this moment. Lawrence, though, we'll see what he's able to do in that kick Sauber. Making his way now through the first sector. Of course, on his return to one hub, as you were saying, on the steering wheel now, as opposed to being on the controller. Nearly 2 tenths down on this time, but he's got 2 more sectors to go. And I know, notoriously around this track, literally just 2 corners to make up those times.
Oh, Joe! Sorry, I was on board with Joe coming through the final sector, and he had a car ahead. I think they were giving him turbulence, and he's in the wall. And was in the wall. He's on a good lap at that point, but yeah, that's his qualifying over, and thankfully that car be solid or ghosted, but I think it's disappeared now, that car, so it shouldn't get in anybody else's way. But yeah, that's our first crash of the night. So yeah, unfortunate for Joe there. He's going to start at best 10th on the grid.
Yeah, very unfortunate for Joe there. So we'll see if anybody's able to make any improvements. Lawrence was 3 and a bit tenths down on his time, so I don't think he's going to be making any sort of improvements unless he has a monstrous final corner, which he has invalidated at. So very unfortunate for him there, not going to be able to make any form of improvements. It's one of the Red Bulls, though, I think, of Jess, just coming up towards the line. She was down on her time by 600s, but now goes up ahead of her teammate of Larkin into 6th position. Rich not making an improvement, but Larkin looking to make an improvement, does make an improvement, and up ahead of Rich 500.
Yeah, Rydog now approaching the final chicane. See if he can take it quite nicely. Yes, he does. That's the perfect way to take the final chicane. Now, can Rydog get himself into the top 10? Crossline now, and no, he doesn't. So he must have lost time early on the lap because that was a really good final chicane. As Faged, he moves up to 9th place, so he's up to the top 10. And Gaza in 10th place, and I believe, apart from Richelieu, I believe that's our quality session done. He's on a slow lap, I believe, so that is our quality session done. We've got Shallow is. Well, he's showing a pole on our screen, but I believe Moggs should start on pole because he did have the quickest time. But we'll see how that works out with the tier coordinators.
Yeah, certainly will. So, at this current moment, Solau is the one that is on pole position, 109.6 for his time. Papa Squanch in second. It did make an improvement, but not enough to go up ahead of Solau in second. Mokwe just pipping up ahead of Ivan Mike in the third position. Mike did improve on his lap as well, so both of those guys making improvements into fourth. Larkin in fifth, Rich in sixth, Jess in seventh, Waze in eighth, Fade in ninth, Gazaman rounding out that top 10, of course, provisionally. But very good qualifying for Gazaman, I've got to say.
Yeah, obviously he's been out racing for a very long time, about 2 years, and great to see him back on form. Obviously, one of my former teammates, and it's good to see him doing a good job there. I'm very impressed by him. Obviously, outside top 10, we have Joe, Rydog, Mikey, Lawrence, Benjamin, Quineth, our defending race winner from here, Richelieu, Vitinho, and Moggs and Proverb provision on the back row. But as you see, we'll wait and see what happens when they reset the grid after this dummy race we do. So that this may not be the grid, but at the moment it's the provisional grid. So wait to see what the final grid is later on.
Certainly will. So let's just have a quick look at their lap times. What it would actually do is it would put Whipping Proverb in ninth position and Moggs on the top step. So technically jumping them down into 10th position. So yeah, I'm sure we'll see that all kick off. I say I'm sure the admins will be speaking to each other to see what's going to happen with that. I'm sure that those guys will re-inherit their positions because I feel like that was slightly unfair as to what was happening with that. And in fact, we have got Mr. Colin R. Mason to tell us the decision on that.
Yes, good evening all. So myself and Mark looked at the incident. We realised that it was completely unjust that they got a disqualification. They were actually being a good gentleman driver by allowing drivers behind to negotiate the chicane before they exited the pit lane. But they were disqualified. So what we've done is we've looked in their race director, we've recorded their lap times, and when we do the lobby restart, Moogs will be in pole position, and Whopping Proverb will get his 8th place back. So we've looked at it, we've realised that it's really unfair. They didn't do anything wrong, just Codemasters being Codemasters. So they will be reinstated, just to let everyone know.
Thank you very much for that.
Colin. Appreciate
I
that.
will now go back to sweat in Canada qualifying.
Yeah, best luck with that.
Cheers all, bye.
Appreciate that. So, yeah, it means that Moggs will re-inherit the pole position. Very good lap time from him. Very impressive lap time. 109.4. I don't even know if I can do that, to be honest with you. So, that's a very, very good qualifying lap from Moggs in that. And same with Salal. You know, very unfortunate that he's having to get knocked off at the top spot. But then again, that's just what the F1 game is. That's why we do these lobby restarts. At least we'll be able to, or they'll be able to inherit the positions that they were supposed to be in from the start of that.
Yeah, I think Salal will admit that it was the right thing to do, and obviously from was still not a disaster. And you know, I think it's fair enough what they said there, and it's good to see a nice quick decision there. Obviously, that's the benefit with our grid, with our lobby restarts. Things like that we can just fix on the restart, so that's great to see. And yeah, I think it's the right decision.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I do think that is definitely the right decision with that. So, yeah, I think we'll see how it's going to go down with Moggs. Of course, being new driver to One Hub, see how he's able to get off the line very well against, of course, Solal. And I believe it was not Mokwe. Who was the one behind him? It was Papa Squanch.
Papa.
So
yeah, and we've got Moki, and then we've got Mike, who'd be 5th on the grid. So yeah, Mike 5th on the grid. Great result for him. And Jess, not far off her teammate. Mike, not far off her teammate Larkin. That's very impressive by Jess there. Only half a tenth off Larkin around qualifying. She's improved so much in these past 2 games. It's great to see.
Yeah, it certainly is great to see. And as I say, Larkin now giving a bit of competition with that. I know this is not a strong circuit for him. I'm sure he doesn't mind me saying. He's just trying to do a bit of damage control in terms of the season for this one as well. I'm quite surprised we actually did see him take maybe a engine penalty or anything like that this evening. But I suppose he probably thought that he may not be able to get to the end with the rest of
Yeah,
those.
I
So
think that's the issue. If you're going to attend every race, then I don't think you'll be able to get it on one engine. So I think I've worked it out myself. I think it's round 3 or 4. I think I'm not a good look at it. I'll maybe look at it over the week. But yeah, I think it's round 3 or round 4. You can use it and get to the end without missing a race. So yeah, I think that's the reason why nobody's taking it tonight.
Yeah, no, exactly that. So, whilst we're just waiting for the lobby restart to go down, waiting for Jess to sort out the grid, may as well just quickly run through all of our sponsors. To begin with, of course, our main sponsor of Next Level Racing sponsors the league by providing some prizes each season. So obviously, do appreciate the fact of Next Level Racing. Make sure you guys are checking them out for any sim racing rigs, sim racing gear. They do provide all of that for yourselves as well. Next one, of course, being our new or brand new sponsor of sim racing setups. Obviously, big shout out to those guys as well. Of course, for they're the main sort of like sponsor for the driver of the days. Of course, if you do win a driver of the day, then you do get a £10 voucher for that. And if you want to use any of the sim racing setups, you can use code OneHub at checkout for a 5% off there as well. So, as I say, massive appreciation to the sim racing setups for that as well. Next one being a Pure Sim Gear. Sponsors the league by providing sim racing socks and gloves to the driver with the most fastest laps or pole positions over the course of the season, and can use code OHR10P to get 10% off on the sim racing socks and gloves at checkout. Of course, next one being Vespertine. Of course, our very own Solal, the one that's sitting in second position, is providing the I'll start that again. Our official apparel, and also providing some great merch prizes. Of course, also the one that's when you sign up to the league, they're the ones that you will be putting into to help, of course, provide for this great cause as well. And then the final sponsor being over at SimGrid. Of course, without SimGrid, we'd have to be using Google Docs to try and have a look at everything, which would be a copious amount of spreadsheets, which we really do not want to be looking at. So they just iron everything out and make things look that much better. So big shout out to SimGrid as well. Any particular surprises in that qualifying session for yourself there, Jamie? Obviously, other than the disqualifications, was there anyone that you was pleasantly surprised about?
To say, I think the likes of Gaza, I was impressed by him, and Jess and Mike. I think Mike has to be the start qualifying there to get a 0.0 and be fifth on the grid. I think Mike definitely is. After his issues last week, that's a great bounce back for him, and I think it's proof that his wheel is working this week. Hopefully he won't have any issues during the race, and he can get a good solid points finish out of it.
Yeah, no, exactly that. Hopefully he does manage to maintain that position, or even try and climb up a couple of the positions from those guys. Maybe try and put the challenge to them as well. You just need to have the good start off of the line to try and put that challenge onto the likes of Papa Squanch, Salau, Mokri and Mogs as well. So see how he's able to do in terms of that. But we are just readying up to get ourselves into the race session. I say hopefully the grid has been sorted out with, of course, Mogs being put onto pole and Wooden Provo being put onto what I believe should be, I know Colin said 8th or 9th, so hopefully he should be in the right position with that. I'm sure, again, we'll find out very, very soon which position he will be in for that. But, yeah, any sort of early predictions? Who do you think is going to be the one that comes out on top? Maybe a podium prediction, Jamie?
Oh, it's very hard to tell. I think Papa's proven how good he is in a race, so I think Papa will definitely get a podium. And Sophie Solo had a good race last week, just missed out on it. And I don't know. I think through the field, there's about 10 drives to get a podium, so it's still difficult. But the whole field can get a podium here. Look how close the grid is. But yeah, I think I still think Papa. I think he should. I think he's probably, he likes this track, and He's got a decent grid position. I think Papa and me has to be the favourite for the win, even though he's not actually on the front row.
Fair enough. I'd probably have to go the opposite, and I'd have to say Moggs. I'd probably say, starting on pole, very good lap time from him. I think he's going to end up taking a win for this evening. It just depends on the jump that Salah gets at this very start of the race. Might end up getting the start of dreams and just jumping straight up ahead of Moggs in terms of that. Again, could come down to the fact of someone behind them might end up doing it. Maybe Larky makes his way through the field. Maybe Jess makes her way through the field. Again, it's all down to the penalties. It's all down to the correct strategy. In terms of strategy-wise, I'd expect a lot of these guys to be doing medium, hard, medium, maybe medium, medium, hard, or any of those brave souls want to try a medium, hard to soft at the end. They could also do that, because I know those hards, they can go for about 17 to 18 odd laps. So before it's time to get rid of them. I'd even probably argue that we might even see one or two people do a 3-stop, a potential of like a medium, soft, medium or something like that, because
definitely possible.
The tyres, like you were saying at the start of the stream there, Jamie, the rears, they just go.
And the pit loss one day is not great. It's not a lot pit loss. And I bet these guys will be glad they aren't racing next week, because on the next game update, they're updating the tyre compound to this track, and that means there'll be C6, C5 and C4. So if you did this track tomorrow, it'd be even softer tyres. I think these drivers would be glad we're doing the race tonight, not tomorrow. But yeah, there's a short pit loss round here. It's around 16 seconds. So yeah, a 3-stop is definitely viable. If you get a bit of clean air, and overtaking on D it's probably one of the easiest tracks to overtake on, was just DRS straight. So yeah, I can see a couple of guys trying to 3-stop, especially at the back. A bit of a gamble, early safety car. I think the early safety car will definitely see a few 3-stoppers.
Yeah, I definitely think we'll see a few of the 2-stops mainly, but maybe someone that can play a little bit of a blinder of a potential 3-stop, even if there's safety cars or anything like that. I'm sure we will wait and see with that. But we're just waiting for everybody to ready up, or waiting for Jess to give the go ahead for all of these guys, and so that we can then get this race underway. Making sure that everybody also remembers their setups. I'm sure maybe one or two people last week might have forgotten their setup. So hopefully we can get that one started out on that. I have had official confirmation. Moggs is starting in first, and Proverb is actually starting in 10th. So that's the official order that they're going to be starting in. Of course, with everybody else in their official grid slot as well. All 20 drivers this evening. Very, very good to see in the P2 tier as well. And when obviously we get this underway, Jamie, I will let you take this one away. But yeah, I think... So you think Papa Squanch will be the one that tops it? I think it'll be Moggs. I want to say an outsider shout though of an Ivor Brim Mike podium. I think this could be...
that'd be great to see.
I really want to see that.
That'd be great to see. And Carl Mulkey as well. Obviously, we know his teammates his brother's very competitive. I don't think he's learning off his brother. He's getting better every week. So Mulkey, 4th on the grid, he could be one to keep an eye out for as we await the race start. Obviously, we'll go straight to race start. This is because there's a bit of a glitch with the formation map on crossplay lobbies. So we go straight to race start. So we don't get much warning of that, I'm afraid. So it could come up any time.
Yeah, it certainly could. So.
Here we go.
Take it away.
We've got 4 lights, 5 lights, and we are underway in Canada. A good start there by Moggs. Salou, is he going to fancy going down the inside? I don't think so. I think Moggs got this covered. Yes, he does a great start there by him. Looks like a clean start through the field, and the top 4 keep the same positions. Mike loses a couple of spots, and Larkin, great start by him up to 5th, going side by side reach into the chicane, but thinks better of it. But there, Moggs really did nail the start, and I don't see any yellow flags, so I believe everybody got through there very cleanly.
Yeah, they certainly did. Jess and Waze were side by side through that second chicane, and Waze unfortunately having to lose out on that one. Jess holding on to position in 8th there, but Moggs, very, very clean start from him. Very clean start from everybody throughout the field from the looks of things. I don't see any wings that are missing from any of those guys. Gazzaman very unfortunately dropping down a significant amount of positions, but have gone back up ahead of Vitinho, and Vitinho also trying to see if he can maybe go for a move back up on Gazza towards the end of the second sector, but not able to do so. Joe B and Mikey both side by side, but Quinnef almost going 3 wide in towards the hairpin at the end of the second sector. There was a Mercedes going relatively slow. I think that was Joe just allowing him, or just making sure that he wasn't getting involved in any incident with that. Richelieu trying to dive it down the inside of of Joe in towards that hairpin as well. And now we're all riding it down towards that end.
Yep.
Chicane.
Richelieu is an end plate missing, so he's an end plate missing. This track isn't too bad for wing damage, but it's going to suffer in the chicanes as you do approach around. Moggs does lead the lap, and yeah, Is yeah, a great start by him. You wouldn't know his first pole the way he took that first lap. Very, very mature drive from him on the first lap. But he's still got another 34 to go, so it's still a long way to go.
Yeah, it certainly is a long way to go as well. So very good start from everybody here. Very unfortunate for Richard, that has gotten himself that bit of damage, and you can just see he's just dropping through the field. So very, very unfortunate in terms of that. And in fact, we're also going to see a move go down, maybe fade going up one position down the inside of Quinn in towards the second chicane. A little bit of a tap there from him, a little bit of a dive from the RB driver, but not able to get the move done. The other RB though going up the inside of Waze in before the third chicane. Waze has a bit of a moment, taps the side of the bridge, taps Whooping Proverb, and into the wall he goes. Both now missing a bit of end plate damage, and very unfortunate of what's happened there. Not much that Whooping Proverb could do. Don't think there was much that Waze was going to do. I think he tried to back off of that one, didn't slow down enough. Now both missing that front end plate damage, and there's a bit of decent going on. As you can see, the cars are mounting each other.
Yeah, that's not what we like to see. As Salo is taken there for Moggs, obviously DRS in play, second lap, so Salo isn't in lead yet. Leaving a bit desync at the back, and that maybe the factor involved the incident. Cars do run very close together. We do see a bit of desync and netcode from time to time, so hopefully that wasn't a thing. As Papa Squunch now having a look at Moggs. Papa Squunch, he's on the charge. Moggs has not had a great first sector there. He had a bit of a moment in the first chicane, and Papa almost took advantage.
Yeah, in fact, they were actually both side by side of each other. I think Moggs tapping the side of Papa Squunch as he was on his outside. Manages to maintain the position as Wade's picking up the first 3-second time penalty. And I can guarantee that it will not be the last one that we will see this evening, as Moggs is now almost out of the DRS zone of Solau. As they make their way just underneath the bridge section. Larkin almost losing out the DRS to Rich as well, but manages to just about maintain that. And yeah, Moggs now 1.3 seconds behind Solau, so Moggs in that Aston Martin on pole. Yeah, he's definitely lost out a lot of time, despite Solau not having that much battery left in his tank. Moggs is still going to be under pressure from the likes of Papa Squunch and from Mokwe, as we're just about to see now. Papa Squunch around the outside of Moggs in just before the final chicane.
Yeah, easily done, and obviously the benefit of that, you get DRS down his second straight to pull away, so that's great for him, and you can try and chase down Solo and try and get back in the DRS of the Mercedes man. As I believe, yeah, Moggs, I believe, maybe he burnt his battery a bit too much in the first lap, and now once you burn your battery so much, it's trying to recover, trying to fight, guys. It's so difficult. You have to fight, but you also have to get your bike back in a decent state. So yeah, it's going to be a couple laps to maybe harvesting for Moggs to be back in the fight once he gets his battery up to a decent level again.
Yeah, it certainly will be. So yeah, all of the top 8, by the way, all within this DRS train, from Solau down to Jess, and then Rydog has made up quite a few positions on his at the start of here.
Yeah, he's gained. Yeah, he has a great start there by up 5 places. Mikey as well. Obviously, these two guys I think benefit from a carnage behind, and Quinn up 12 places as well there. So yeah, great start from these guys. But it's a 5-second gap between 8th and 9th. It's quite weird how there's such a gap so early in the race. And these guys, well, once you're out of DRS in the car ahead, it's just so difficult to catch back up again. And you have to say, Rydog's sort of in no man's land, and he's sort of pulling away a bit from Mikey, but yeah, it's a bit bizarre to see such a gap between 2 positions this early in the race.
Yeah, it certainly is, and Rich also now almost losing out that DRS to Mokwe in 4th position, so we're starting to see some gaps for Mikey picking up a 30-second time penalty now as well. On lap 5, Quinn has retired the first one at the Wall of Champions, and I believe
be a safety car's out. Yeah, safety car's out.
Safety car, so that's going to throw out some interesting strategies. I'm sure we're going to see most of these guys on those medium tyres make their way into the pits. I feel sorry for like to Fade and Vitinha though, because they started on those hard, so they're probably going to have to long it out on these hard tyres, or, like we were mentioning, elusive free stop.
Yeah, that could be an option there. And these guys with wing damage, they'll be glad it's come out now, because they can change their wing, not much penalty at all. Proverb gets a penalty under safety car, which is not unfortunate. Yeah, this does bring the free stop into play, and if I was these guys, I think lap 5, the move's definitely been. I think the hard guys, it's a difficult call, because the hards, you're not putting much laps on them. You'll get trapped position, but you'll also be a pit stop behind effectively. So if I was these guys, I'd pit, maybe put a set of softs on, maybe try and go to like lap 11 or so. Maybe you can do it on double mediums there. I don't see the point of staying out on old hards really, because he's going to get swallowed up when the restart happens. So I expect everybody in the pits now.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And I'll tell you who has benefited massively from that is both Lawrence and Richelieu. They've managed to make their way into the pits just under that bit as well. So here we go. Salau into the pits, Squanch into the pits, Marks into the pits, Moqui coming into the pits as well. Rich and Larkin racing into the pits. Larkin breaking the pit barrier board. So we'll see who's going to be.
Red Bull Gouge is coming up though. Oh yeah. I thought it was going to miss the pit there, but thankfully the ghosting was in play there, and everybody's in the pits apart from Benjamin. It looks like Welsh Benjamin is staying out, so Benjamin will need some laps here. Will he? Well, I don't think he will, I think Salah will stay ahead. Yes, he does. So Benjamin and Vitinho stay out, and they're sort of 4th and 5th. So yeah, that's interesting to see. That might cause a bit of an issue on the restart with these guys on all the tyres and the guys behind desperate to get by.
For some strange reason, Fader's gone on the set of the Inters. I don't understand that, but he has gone on the set of intermediate tyres.
There's no rain forecast, so that is a bit bizarre. Unless, I know what he might have done there. He might have, I don't know if it still works. He might have gone a set of Inters because he sat on hards. Maybe, but I don't think it will count as an extra compound now, will it? So you have to do 2 drag compounds anyway. So I don't know why. Maybe on the menu he just either flips in tyres and he flipped 1 too far and got the Inters. But yeah, that's not good for him. You have to pit this lap because it's a bit unsafe to be out on Inters on a dry track. We see it sometimes in qualifying on certain races, but not in a race like this. He has to pit because I think he knows straight away he's made a mistake there, and yeah, it's unfortunate for him having a good start as well on them hard tyres, and it's just gone to complete pot.
Yeah, it certainly has. So very unfortunate for Fade. Going to have to come in, chuck on another set of tyres. So he is going to be 3-stopping because he's going to have to do another set of. Well, we could do medium.
You can't get memes to the end for me, eh? No, you can't get memes. No way you can get memes to the end here. He's coming in. So, and also Rydog ahead's coming in. So Rydog's going to have his 2 stops out the way here. So he must select the harder strategy because he's going to go another set of hards and try to get to the end. But I don't think it's going to work out for him. I just don't see that working. Well, he's on medium. Actually changed his wing, so he must have picked up wing damage on the safety car. So that's a bit weird. Picking up wind damage on the safety car. Must have hit the back of a car or something there. But anyway, at least he didn't lose much. At least he's going to catch a pack up again. So he's going to lose some positions, but he's not out the race as he would have been if it wasn't a safety car.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. So yeah, Solau is now the one that has inherited the race lead. Papa Squanch is in 2nd, Moggs in 3rd. Welsh Benjamin and Vitinho yet to pit, but are sitting in 4th and 5th. Going to cause some nice carnage behind them, with Moqui in 6th, Larkin in 7th. Actually did jump up ahead of Rich in the pits, so they were racing into the pits, and Larkin did prevail with that one, has jumped up ahead of Rich from that pit lane. Rich in 8th with Ivor and Mike in 9th, Jess rounding out the top 10, Lawrence in 11th with Mikey in 12th with the final points position. Of course, that's subject to be changing massively. Gazman in 13th with Joe in 14th, Waze in 15th, Richelieu in 16th, Fade in 17th, Rydog in 18th, Whip and Proverb in 19th, all the way at the very back of the grid. It's just come out of the pits, but the safety car is in at the end of the lap, so we're going to be getting this one straight back underway here, Jamie.
Yeah, well, how will Solo approach this restart? Proverb will not catch up, he will not catch up. Well, we saw in P2 different approaches, you just saw one guy go for it straight away, almost follow safety car in the pit lane, but Solo's not taking that approach. He's going, I'd either go for it after the chicane, try and catch Papa Squanch out. But Papa Squanch have a tyre advantage on the medium, so Solo will have to get a really good launcher unless he'll be under pressure from the Williams man. As we do get underway, and Solo has a decent launch there. Papa is in the slipstream, but I think it's too far back. I've got Vitinho out the race. He must have hit the wall, pit wall champions on this warm-up lap. He's out the race, and will that cause another safety car? I don't think it will. I think we're all right to go. Not many moves apart from that crash of Vitinho, which I missed, unfortunately.
I think he actually just came into the pits because I just saw he got a 10-second penalty for speeding. So,
maybe he had, we knew he had connection issues. Maybe, giving it up. So he's out the race. So yeah. I just saw the 10-second penalty, so I must assume that, but yeah, anyway, we're down to 18 now, and Proverb is 24 seconds behind, so he needs another safety car to be back in this race. And Solo he's had a great restart lap on the hard tyres, but has a bit of a moment out that second chicane. No DRS in play just yet, so Papa Squanch will have to bide his time here if he wants to get his move done, as Yeah, as he gets a decent exit through there, but as I say, there's not really much going on. Has any got any moves in the hairpin? I don't think so. I think everyone's too far back. Everyone's behaving themselves a bit more than the first lap. As we've actually got Richelieu getting a move done on the Haas of Phaged. Sorry, that's the other way around. He's got the move done there, and Rydog may have a slipstream here as Ivory Mike actually gets the move done on Rich into the chicane. Very impressive there. I think Rich must have had to back out of it there, but Ivory Mike is definitely on the warpath.
He certainly is on a warpath. He needs to try and catch up to Larkin just out in front of him, 1.1 seconds behind the Red Bull driver. Needs to get within that DRS, otherwise he's going to lose out massively to those guys. But yeah, Mike managing to get past Rich down that long straight without any DRS. Very good move from him. Rydog and Richelieu just changing positions as Vitinho. He did mention the fact that it was a bit too laggy for him, so he did end up leaving the session in the end.
Yeah, we had Race and Joe going side by side into turn 3, and they almost made contact, but they managed to get through just about there. Joe getting the move done there on the Ferrari man. But yeah, now Papa Sconch is a little bit close to Salo there. I think they fancying a move into the DRS zone as them hard tyres are not quite the temperature, as they've got Mox has fallen down the order there. He's lost his wing, so he must have hit the wall somewhere.
I think that was out of the exit of the chicane. He's completely lost his wing. So, very unfortunate for the Aston Martin. That is him, going to be close to being out of the points position. Going to have to come in. Papa Squanch now getting the move done on Solau for the lead of the race. The Mercedes is now going to have to try and follow the Williams as fast as possible. Those hards, I know, are quite a bad tyre, I've got to say, using them from the practice sessions. So yeah, I know they are quite bad. As Joby going down the inside of Welsh Benjamin,
have to get that move done.
Yeah, very nicely done from Mokwee.
Yeah, definitely. Benjamin's struggling a bit on them old mediums, but you have to say Benjamin's getting himself a good tyre offset here. He's doing quite good, but he still has 2 more stops to do, so he's going to have to. So I wonder if he's maybe fancying doing a medium soft strategy. That'd be very, very ambitious, but I wonder if that's his thinking here. But it'd be very ambitious for him to do that, as Larkin now he's going to fancy move here. But the problem for Larkin is that the Alpine guy ahead does have DRS 2, so it's going to make the move a bit more difficult. I wonder if Larkin may fancy a dive into the hairpin. No, he's a bit too far back for that, but the problem again is still that Alpine's going to have DRS again down this straight, as Papa Sconch pulled a 1.5 second gap already. That shows you difference in tyre compounds.
Certainly does. As I say, the hards there are pretty naff around here, to be honest with you. So let's have a look. Larkin using the ERS to burn as much as possible, trying to get ahead of Welsh Benjamin. Does get that move done. Welsh Benjamin has barely any ERS. I think Benjamin went a bit too, or broke a bit too late, went into the back of Larkin. Larkin then ended up compromising his chicane. It meant that now Ivory Mike side by side with Larkin going in towards the first and second turns. Larkin going to hold it around the outside. A little bit of margin between them, and manages to get the move done. Up into 4th position goes Larkin. Mike now up into 5th. Yeah, very. I don't know if Welsh Benjamin just broke a bit too late. I know he went back behind Larkin, but or Larkin went back in front of him and cut back in front. But I wasn't sure if Welsh Benjamin just kind of went a bit too deep or what.
I think I had a great idea of that, but it looked quite similar to the Grosjean Stevens incident a few years ago, where one guy was coming to pits and I think Grosjean basically pushed him. But I didn't see it though. I wasn't quite sure. But yeah, I don't think Benjamin was pitting there, was he? I think he was going for another lap. But luckily for him, the only good thing for Benjamin was that happened at probably the best possible time. If he did get wind damage, that was probably the best possible time to happen right at the pit lanes. He didn't lose anything because of it. Only the wing change itself. But yeah, it's unfortunate. I just think it's just an unfortunate incident there. I don't think it was really anybody's fault. But we'll wait and see if he gets put in the stewards, as Ivory Mike now is kind of running at Larkin. Larkin must have got by again, and Larkin defending well, but he's stuck at the hard tyres. He's got no grip at all. It's just so difficult drive on them hard tyres. But Papa Squanch will have to go on them at the end of the race. So maybe Saloon's thinking, I'll take the punishment now, and I'll have the better tyre at the end of the race.
I still think a free stop might even be the quickest one from the looks of things. Those hards look absolutely
woeful.
Bad. Yeah, they look woeful. Yeah, I was thinking of a word, couldn't think of one, but yeah, I think woeful is definitely the best way to describe it. Yeah, those hards, they just do not look fun to drive on whatsoever. As Fade is out of the race, has retired in the pit lane. Very unfortunate for Fade there. So 3rd retiree of the evening. Ivory Mike is still trying to eye up a move on Larkin. Not going to go for it just before the bridge section, as otherwise he loses out on a double dose of DRS. He's going to have to sit behind for now. It's allowing Rich, Jess, Lawrence, Mikey to catch on to the back of these guys. And look at the time that has been lost already. Papa Squanch now 2, 2.3 seconds up ahead of Solal. Solal 1.7 up ahead of Mokui, and Mokui 2.3 up ahead of Larkin. I think we're going to see the Welshman now prevail and get ahead of the Rebel in front of them.
Yeah, pretty easy on the battery there, pretty easy done, and then to move away for the braking zone and get a good hit around here, and it should be good night for Larkin.
Certainly is. So very good move from Mike, and now he's just going to allow himself to run away from the hard runners and get some more time to catch up to Mokui as well. 7 laps on these mediums, 7 laps on those hards, obviously from that safety car. I'm going to be under the assumption that the change, or what we're going to see very soon, is the crossover between these mediums and hards. I reckon in about 2 to 3 laps time. So Mike needs to do as much as possible to get away from the guys on those hards to try and catch up to them and get some bit of DRS. Otherwise Larkin is going to come straight back on the Alpine out in front of him. And in fact, from the looks of things, Larkin is doing well keeping up with them. Maybe the crossover point has already happened.
Maybe, yeah, because Mike isn't really catching Moki yet. Moki's pulling away a little bit, so yeah, maybe it's happening right now. And yeah, Larkin getting the benefit of DRS as Mike goes really deep there into the hairpin. I believe his tyres are going off already. Like really, the tyres around here, none of them are a great race tyre really. It's about trying to survive basically. That's my feeling about it. As Larkin here with DRS not really in position to overtake here. He may fancy moving turn one if he gets a good exit through here. Larkin doesn't get that great exit. I believe Mike will be safe for now. But yeah, Mike's lost 6/10 to Moki in half a lap. So yeah, a bit the mediums like to go off, and now Salao is now starting to slowly gain on Papa again. So I believe the crossover point is happening right now.
Yeah, it certainly looks it. Moki just having a nice little drift through that second chicane. I'm surprised at the amount of penalties that we've seen already, but I'm also not surprised to say it. Quite a clean tier so far. I thought we'd have a few more penalties at the moment, but yeah, they've all done well so far with what's happening. In terms of that incident, what happened with Waze and Whooping Proverb out just before the bridge section, Waze has said that he lost the back end under braking, so swerved to avoid the wall that was poking out. And unfortunately meant that Water Proverb was in front of him at that point, so ended up going into the side of him, causing them both a bit of wing damage, so affecting both of their races very unfortunately. So yeah, that's just what happened with that incident. I'm sure that'll get put to the stewards room after the race. But at this, what's going on at the moment, Mike's still not been able to get away from Larkin in terms of DRS. Mikey, in fact, is the one that's trying to challenge Lawrence for that bit of DRS at the end of the start, or at the end of the long straight. Has a little bit of a bad exit, does, to Aston Martin, so not going to look to capitalise on getting past the kick Sauber. Lawrence, though, is trying to eye out maybe a potential move on Jess in front of him.
Yeah, definitely. There's a bit of a train now forming behind Larkin and behind Mike. Mike's starting to form a bit of a train now with his tyres going off a little bit, and these guys desperately get by. The problem is, if you're like 4th or 5th in this train, you'll get the dirty air in the corners, and the DRS effect is basically negated by the fact you're in a DRS train. So it's going to make progressing very difficult, and there'll be definitely be Mike pits soon, but I think Mike will go another 2 or 3 laps, because if he pits now, the hards will be dead in the race, so he's going to go a bit longer as well. As Benjamin picks up a time penalty, we've got a yellow flag, and I believe that is the Haas of Richelieu, who's spinning around, going the wrong way. He's got to be careful and get a disqualification, and yeah, he just recovered there, so lost a lot of race time there, but he's still in the race. He must have, what happened there, he must have the spin coming out the chicane there, and yeah, he's back underway now, but lost a lot of time, and now Larkin's ever closer to Mike. Now can Larkin get a decent exit out of here and go for it? But no, I think the dirty air through the chicane makes it so difficult to get a good exit through there. That's going to make overtaking very difficult. You got to get it done the first DRS section, I believe, because that second section looks quite difficult with the dirty air.
Yeah, it does look quite pants out of there with the dirty air. So hopefully they're able to get sort them out as well. Yeah, I think from the looks of things, Papa Squad just managed to sort of maintain that same gap to Solao out in front. The only thing is like you were saying though, Jamie, is that Papa Squad is going to go on a set of the hards at the end here, unless he tries a 3-stop himself. But he's going to look to go on a set of the hards here, which means that Solao's going to have the better tyre towards the end of the race. And looking at how these hards are in comparison to how these mediums are, I mean, even with the mediums at that crossover point, they're still looking at very similar pace to the hard tyres. I mean, we saw very briefly that those mediums were, well, they looked just that slight bit worse on that 8th lap on them in comparison to the hard guys on the hards. But Mike looks like he's managed to maintain that pace ahead of Larkin as well.
Yeah. I think what happens though, you know, your tyres go off, you feel that thing, and you just slightly adjust the way you drive, just adjust your braking zone, just adjust where you go on the throttle. And I think, as Mike actually pits now, so, but you just, once you feel the slide, you sort of, maybe next time round, you sort of know, maybe brake 5 metres a bit earlier. So I think you learn as you drive, and that's what Papa's doing well. He's controlling his race very nice there, as Mike goes it hard, so he's going to the end, so he's going to have a very long stint at the end of the race. It's going to be about 20 lap stint for him there, so it's going to be very, I can do half the race on them tyres effectively, so that'll be interesting how he does. He's going to come out with some nice clean air to get them tyres nice up the temperature, so you can maybe do a bit of try maybe an undercut attempt on Moki ahead.
Yeah, certainly could do. And so, as we say, that he then picks up a 3-second time penalty. So just to give him a little bit of extra motivation, he needs to now get that 3 seconds up ahead of not only Larkin and Rich and Jess, Lawrence and Mikey that they were in the train with, but now to try and catch up with Moki as well. So very unfortunate with that. I'm sure we might end up seeing, if Mike came into the pits this lap, are we going to see Papa Squanch make his way into the pits at the end of this lap as well? I'm just having a quick look on board. No, he stays out, very interestingly. So he's going to look to try and long out these medium tyres as much as possible. Obviously, as I say, he's going on a set of hards towards the end. I reckon Mike's going to really struggle at the end on those hard tyres, but he's going to get a massive undercut on the rest of these guys that are on the hards to go to the set of the mediums.
Maybe.
So he's going to have a decent bit of defending it he needs to do with that 3-second time penalty.
Maybe Mike's thinking free stop here. Maybe he's thinking free stop. Maybe thinking our pit with 6 laps to go, chuck a set of softs on. Maybe that's his thinking here. Maybe he's on the free stop strategy. Wait and see on that. And I believe Papa will pit when Solo gets into his DRS. I believe that's probably a smart play for him to pit when as soon as he feels like Solo's in his DRS and not losing any time fighting. But yeah, Mike might be guide watch out for a free stop, I'm going to predict there. So wait and see.
Certainly will. And just sort of a little bit further back on the grid, Waze, Joby and Ride Dog, massive bit of battling going on there, a bit of aggression going on there as well. Waze dove it up the inside of Joby in towards the first turn, almost Max Verstappen-esque, to be honest with you. Sort of taps the side of Joe as he made his way through, claiming the corner, manages to get up ahead. Joby was then sort of almost forced to the grass, and Ride Dog was then trying to capitalise on that. Had to stay behind him, behind the Mercedes in the end, so Joe's managing to hold on with the P11. But yeah, very, very aggressive moves going on with those guys. Is Lawrence now getting a jump on Jess out of that DRS from Rich, and Lawrence again capitalising on that DRS, the double DRS that he gets up into 6th position, as Larkin now picks up a 3-second time penalty. So that kind of nulls it out between him and Ivor Bryn Mike as well. Mog's also picking up another 3-second time penalty, and he's only 3 seconds behind Ivor Bryn Mike as well. So a lot of penalties here now being picked up, Jamie, and I get the feeling we're going to start to see this race turn its head where it's going to be won in terms of penalty decision.
Yeah, because 3 seconds in the race like this, look how close to these battles are. Look at the battle, which was 10th in the battle. You could lose 4 or 5 places, you get 6 seconds. So I expect. So yeah, it's going to be. The problem is, if you try to drive to avoid penalties, then you're just not going to gain time, because the way to be quick around here is to attack the curbs. So if you're not attacking the curbs, then you're going to lose time actually anyway. So it's going to be so difficult. It's got a yellow flag for a spinner. I believe that is Benjamin in the Alpine. Yes, he's just recovered there. He's obviously had that incident with Larkin, and he hasn't, and it's sort of gone a bit wrong from ever since then. As Mikey's overtaken Jess for 8th, 7th place at the right time to overtake him. We've got a guy, we've got a Salvo in the pits for Lawrence. Now he's going to go for mediums. This is going to be a very long sit on the medium tyres. We'll wait and see what he does go for, elected to run. But yeah, Lawrence is in the pits, so it does look like a set of hard tyres. So he must select hard on the strategy to get 2 sets of hard. So you have no trouble getting to the end, but he won't be particularly fast, I don't think, in this stint.
No, as I say, the hard tyres, pretty poor tyre. So Lawrence could be a bit of an interesting one, though. He might make it work. As I say, that out of the pits, he goes into the grass. Not what you want to be doing, because now he's going to lose out a significant amount of time to Mikey and Jess out, who he was out in front of. Mikey, by the way, managed to get the move done on Jess just before, as you say, Lawrence came into the pit. And Rich is now all over the back of Larkin for that position, as well as Salau all over the back of Papa Squanch. So we might even see a lead change go down before I think Papa Squanch making his way into the pits. I'm assuming we're going to be seeing the Williams make his way into the pits at the end of this lap because he's just losing time head over fist. And yeah, there you go. That's Papa Squanch into the pits to chuck on a fresh set of hard to go to the end of the race. It promotes Salau now into the lead of the race. Moqui now up in the second, and Larkin now into a net third position, with of course Rich just being up behind him. Where is Papa Squanch though going to come out in relation to the likes of either Bryn Mike and to Mox as well?
Being come out round where Mike is. Going to be heading Ivor and Mike. He's going to be very close with Gaza. Yeah, he's well ahead of Mike, and Moggs. He's well ahead of Moggs as well. So that's worked out there for Papa. A bit of clean air. Gaza ahead, and he should DRS past Gaza down the back straight, I believe. So that's not worked out too badly from there. I saw more do Salo actually when Papa came in the pits, and Salo I think might have been caught off guard by the Williams pit. He had a massive moment in the chicane and lost a second to Moki. So yeah, he didn't have the best one through the chicane there. He lost a lot of time. He gathered up well there before he hit the wall.
Yeah, certainly did. So yeah, let's have a look and see Papa Squanch. He's all over the back of Gaza, making his way up and towards the hairpin. Gaza just having a little bit of a moment coming out of that chicane. Didn't throw Papa Squanch off too much there, but I'm going to, yeah, from the looks of things, the Williams is just going to breeze on past the McLaren out in front of him. I think Gaza's not even going to try and fight this one too much. Moving as far to the left-hand side as possible. Going to allow Papa Squanch to go for that move. Down the inside he goes, and that's move done. Salah now into the pits to chuck on another set of
hards as well.
Hards as well. So yeah, 2 sets of hards in towards the end of the race. Jess getting a 10-second penalty for speeding into the pits, so she's now going to be put at a massive disadvantage. Very unfortunate because she was running very well in that race, and now that 10-second penalty is just going to erase everything that she's done in the race. So very, very unfortunate for her in terms of that. But Papa Squanch has come out about 3 seconds in front of Salau, so a very good undercut for Papa Squanch.
Big undercut, yeah.
Going to see if Salau can try and catch back up to Papa Squanch.
Yeah, no, I'm quite surprised that Salau selected harder strategy. I'm quite surprised by that, because I'd thought double mediums would have been the way to go, but there we go. I guess these P2 guys do not like the mean tyres, but I just think the hard tyres just look so bad. I mean, they take about 3 laps to get up to temperature. Once you get up to temperature, you're not really that fast. I'm quite surprised how many people are running them, but maybe they know something we don't. I don't know.
Yeah, no, exactly that. So, Rich as well, interestingly, has lost the RS to Larkin. So, Larkin's putting a bit of a push on. I think we're going to see him in the pits at the end of this lap. We certainly are. Moqui does slow down enough to go into the pits, but was quite slow going into the pits, so Larkin's definitely gained a bit of time on the kick salver. Papa Squanch just coming out of the final chicane now. Larkin going on a set of the mediums. So this is what I was more expecting for these guys to do.
Moqui as well, yeah.
Set for the mediums. So where are they going to come out in relation to everybody who's just making their way through that first turn now? Mike has got the jump on the both of them, up into now a net third position. I was saying I've been Mike for a potential podium, and it is looking very good so far. Salah getting a 3-second time penalty for his troubles now as well. So that's now going to basically put Papa Squanch on an absolute pedestal for the rest of these guys. As Moggs has actually had a bit of a spin, I believe, coming out of the first chicane. Not sure what had happened to the Aston Martin, but he's not been able to get past his teammate, or has actually lost position out to his teammate, as Mike getting a move done on Gazaman now just before the bridge.
Yeah, good, yeah, push there for Mike to get it done there. I believe if you're on dead tyres, you might as well get moved done there on the bridge, because I believe the problem is you have to use a bit battery here to keep guys there behind. There's no problem doing that. You probably thought he'd get a bit more delta there, but yeah, good move there by Mike. Gets a better exit. He should be safe now from Gaza. I don't think Gaza will take a risk here on dead tyres, but yeah. Moqui, he's about 8 seconds behind Papa, so this could be very interesting with these two catching up. But it looks like Rick Larkin's got the advantage over Moqui at the moment on pace. Once he got rid of Mike, and I think Larkin's now starting to come into his own a little bit. But that 3-second time penalty is going to cost him in relation to Papa. But he could be looking good for a podium here. I think Mike will have time keeping these two behind.
Yeah, he's going to have a tough time for sure. So I think what is going to be the best opportunity for both of the medium boys of Moqui and Larkin is, you can see that Larkin is quicker than the kick salver. I think it's better for Larkin to then go through on Moqui to then try and catch up to the likes of Mike, to Salah, both with time penalties. Moqui will benefit massively from that, and then basically pick himself up a second place just without getting himself any penalties. Obviously, depending on what Papa Squanch does as well, because he's now only 2 seconds out in front of someone.
Yeah, and obviously now Papa and Hart, Papa, I believe he'll have to. When you're in the lead, though, you feel in control. But to say, I'd be feeling a bit. I wouldn't like to see. Once these two start posting purple laps, that's when the pressure will start to feel for Papa. That's when you start to feel the pressure a little bit. Maybe push a little bit too hard as Wace gets a penalty in Papa as Rich now finally pits. Now Rich, he's got the best time to everybody here, so he could be the guy to look out for. It's like it's another penalty, and I believe that's going to cost him any chance to podium tonight. He's getting too many penalties.
It certainly was. So very unfortunate for Larkin now. I think he was hoping, well, if he would have gotten a penalty, I'm sure he would have been ecstatic with that. But and I think maybe a top 5 is what he's hoping for. A top 5 he can still get. Don't get me wrong. Even though he's got 6 seconds of penalties, he is about 4 seconds out in front of Lawrence in front of him, who has also done his 2 stops. It's just Rich he's got to try and make sure he keeps behind him towards the end of the race. But yeah, Rich coming at the pits now, coming out in an 8th position, of course, with the guys that have got penalties in front of him. Going to be quite interesting to see where they're all going to come out. I'm just going to have a look. Everybody has done their 2 stops, so no, we're not expecting anybody else to make their way into the pits. So it's just now on pure race pace. Mopi looking in a very good position to pick himself up a podium. He's just got to try and stick with Larkin, but Larkin already dropping DRS to the kick Sauber behind him.
Yeah, Larkin showing great pace there. He's definitely just maybe pushing a little bit too hard on the track limits. But yeah, Larkin still get good result. This he can still get. I think top 5 should be doable for him. He should get Mike pretty easy, and I think Mike will just struggle so much in the race because he's got a great track position. You have to say it's worth a try, but. The shame for Larkin these time penalties because he's absolutely flying at the moment. He's the fastest man on the track and he's catching these leaders at a rapid rate of knots.
Yeah, he certainly is. And Mike, of course, on the oldest tyres at the moment, other than Moggs, who's actually just come back in to chuck on a used set of medium tyres as Aston Martin. I think the ones that he started on at the very start of the grid. Very unfortunate race for what's happened with the Aston Martin. It's not been a very good race for him whatsoever after picking up that damage. So, yeah, I think it's definitely a race for him to forget. But the other Aston Martin, I've got to say, Mikey, running quite nicely at the moment in the 7th position. Of course, you've got to remember, Jess has got 10-second penalties. So, Mikey, even if she does catch up to the back of the Aston Martin, I don't think Mikey's really going to worry too much about Jess potentially going past. But, I mean, from the looks of things, Rich, I think he needs to try and get past both the Aston Martin and the Kick Sauber as quick as possible to have any chance of a potential top 5. As Larkin now going around the outside of Iverbryn Mike in towards the long DRS straight. Mike having a bit of a mare going through there as well. Mopi now all over the back of him.
Yeah, even without DRS, he's on the back of him. Yeah, I think he must have got caught off guard. He said there was a dirty air factor there, but he was only a bit closer to Larkin than they were expected. And yeah, just had to really save the car there because I thought he was going to the wall there, but luckily he hasn't. He's only lost a second or 2 lap time, so yeah. Great move there by Larkin, had to get that done, and this is going to help actually with Moki being stuck behind the Alpine. This is going to help him pull a bit more of a gap to the Kick Sauber man. I believe this is probably our podium fight between these two, not in track, but in terms of lap times.
I mean, we did say that Larkin was written off for the podium, but I mean, from the looks of things, he's almost gained the 3 seconds on Iverbryn Mike that he needs, considering that Mike's got that 3 second time penalty as well. He needs to just try and gain 6 seconds on Mopi, which is easier said than done, don't get me wrong, but he's already 3 seconds up ahead of him, so he needs to just do what he's been doing for the past few laps. Try and catch up to Salau. I think that's going to be his best opportunity to get himself onto the podium. We might even see it go down, Jamie. What, 9 more laps left to go? I think it's possible.
It is, yeah, definitely. It's even definitely possible. He only passed him a couple of laps ago, and he's got 3 seconds already. So with 9 laps to go, all it is like a couple of tenths a lap, and then you can do it. So it is definitely possible. It's about 4 or 5 tenths a lap, and he should do it. But just say, if Moki has to get his move done on Mike's using bucket load of time behind the Alpine, but you see, Mike's getting really good corner exits. He's going to make it very difficult for Moki to pass. Mike's traction is quite impressive. He really is nailing the corner exits.
Certainly is. He has a little bit of a slide though out of that second chicane. He's going to compromise him slightly as Moki's now trying to use that ERS. He wants to try and get the move done on Mike now before the bridge section. He's going to go down the inside in towards the bridge. Mike's not going to try and fight that one too hard. He's going to try and go for a bit of a switchback on the exit of the chicane, but not going to be able to do anything at the moment. The Welshman, almost caused a civil war. Iverbrid Mike manages to sit behind Moki now and sit down into 5th position. Very unfortunate because I thought he was on for a definite shout of a podium, but I think 5th place is going to be the best that the Welshman is going to have to settle for. He's just got to hope that Rich 500 is not going to be able to catch up to him in these next 8 laps. But yeah, Mike, very good and solid race from him so far. Moki now up in the full 3 seconds still behind Larkin. A massive tank slapper out of the final corner. Any more of that and he's going to really struggle to get that podium from Larkin, as Larkin doing a very solid job.
Rich out.
Yeah, into the pits. I saw him on that last lap. Out of the chicane that Salau has actually just come through, completely shattered his wing. Was lapped by Papa Squanch and Salau as well, so ended up coming into the pits to retire from the session. Our 4th retiree of this evening, and only 4 drivers without a penalty at the moment, Jamie.
It's quite not hugely shocked by that, but yeah, Gaza again. And to one about Gaza, he's really good at avoiding time penalties. I know I've raced him a lot, and Gaza is one of the best in the business at avoiding track limits penalties. Not surprised by not getting one, but I'd say Pap in the lead doing a great job. Also, Lawrence is in the wall. Coming out that he came out of the that's brought the safety car out. Lawrence is in the wall. Yeah, he just lost it by himself into the wall. Safety car's out now. We pit for soft tyres now.
You've got to. You kind of have to, especially considering the leaders are coming. You've got to pit in for that. The very annoying thing for the guys that run that have the penalties, they're going to be seething that the safety car has come out.
Larkin's on for a podium because he's pulling a half-second lap out of Moki. Moki's really struggling there. He's struggling for traction. Now Larkin going to be kicking himself with his time penalties, and everybody's in. Not a huge shock. Soft should get to the end from here. Mikey's staying out though. Mikey's the only guy to stay out, and that's a bit of a mistake from there. He's going to be gobbled by the field. Jess will get rid of her 10 seconds now. So Jess, she's going to lose some places, but she'll have to fight back, and Jess may get a better result now because of the safety car, because she's not lost too many places. So that's worked out very well for Jess. That safety car, I have to say.
Time from 4 people to not having penalties is now up to 5 people. Also, Jess serving a 10-second time penalty for the speeding in the pit lane. So she's at least now got a bit more of an opportunity to move up a few positions, especially with the likes of Mikey, who hasn't pit on the hard tyres for the Aston Martin. He's got Larkin just behind him, of course, with 6 seconds worth of penalty. Moki without any penalties. The same with Rich. Both of those guys are going to benefit massively from that safety car. But let's actually have a quick look in terms of penalty wise. So both Salau and Mikey have a 3-second time penalty. Larkin has 6 seconds. Mike has 6 seconds. Lawrence, Ride Dog, Joe all with 6 seconds as well. Jess, Gazaman, no penalties for them, so they're going to benefit massively from those guys out in front with the penalties. And then Waze, Moggs, Proverb, Welsh Benjamin all with those penalties as well. I don't expect them to be moving up in positions other than maybe Moggs and Welsh Benjamin with only having 3 seconds worth of time penalties. So Papa Squanch, as long as he keeps it penalty free, I think is tipped to be winning this race. If he doesn't manage to keep it penalty free, Moki has got a very, very good shot of winning this race as long as he keeps it within that DRS train with the rest of those guys. So it's just dependent on if he keeps that penalty free.
The issue for Moki is he has to get by Mikey. Mikey on these dead hards, he is going to be so slow on the first lap, so we may see a bit of instant behind Mikey, everyone trying to get past this guy. Mikey going for the Hail Mary here, but I don't think it'll work for him. I believe we'll see that guy fall rapidly down the order, but it's worth a try, I guess. He was out the points. He thought it's worth a try, and you never know, you may get lucky, but I don't not much chance of it there. But yeah, Moki's looking good to 2nd place here if he can clear these guys ahead, and Rich on for podium, which would be a good drive for him. And say Jess could get a top 6 here. Jess not up the contention, she get a top 6 here if she just keeps it clean. So yeah, that safety car's worked out a treat for her. And I think Mike has got his penalties, but I believe his tyres were shot anyway, so maybe Mike sort of got that safety car came out. But yeah, and the guys around him, Lawrence, Rydog, Joe, they've got 6 seconds, so it might not be too bad for Mike with that safety car.
He certainly wouldn't be. I think he's quite happy the fact that, well, I wouldn't be too happy about that because even with those dead hearts,
No.
he's still guaranteed almost a top 5 position anyway. But
Yeah,
at least now we know he's definitely going to be getting it to the end and no punctures whatsoever. But yeah, Jess Gazzaman, they are going to be benefiting massively from that. 5 drivers out in front of them with 6 seconds worth of time penalties. They've just got to kind of cruise it to the end and make sure that they don't get involved in any incidents. And I think that they're on for pretty much almost a top 5, as you were saying.
We'll only get 3 laps of racing as well at the end, because it'll come in this lap, so it'll be 33, 34, 35. So not much race to go. Expect to see a very aggressive restart from these guys. So expecting guys at the back trying to get moves done, but it's going to be difficult. They're all basically back from Mikey on the same tyre, so it's going to be very difficult to get moves done. So yeah, but it's not going to stop him. It's not going to stop him anyway.
No, it certainly won't. And interestingly, Moggs has actually come into the pits to get a fresh set of the soft tyres. So I think he's just wanted to make sure that he has got solid softs for this last lap, or the 3-lap sprint out, 3-lap shootout, sorry, for the end of this race. So it's just to see if he's going to end up maybe making up a couple of positions. Obviously, the 3-second time penalty he's going to make up a few of the guys that got 6 and 9 seconds worth of penalties. So he will definitely make some up, but he wants to try and put a bit of pressure on those guys out in front of him. I mean, qualify on pole, so.
Yeah, he could get a decent recovery out there. He can get a top 10, maybe a top 8 out of this. But yeah, I don't blame him for pitting. He was down in 14th and safe car in this lap. He'll catch up. He'll have nice warm tyres and fresher tyres as well. So yeah, that was sort of a no-brainer for him to pit there really. And yeah, look how warm his tyres going to be as he's caught the train now. So yeah, watch out for Moggs in this restart. It's got Rich and Lawrence. Rich has overtaken Lawrence. I don't know how that's come about, but anyway, we'll see what Papa does in the restart. Will he leave it late? I believe he will. I think he'll leave it as late as possible.
Yeah, he certainly will. So let's have a look. Is he going to go early? Is he going to go late? I actually get the feeling that Mr. Papa Squanch is going to go quite early. With how slow he's going through all of this, I get the feeling he's actually going to go before this final chicane. He did see what he's going to do. If he's going to do what Solar did, he does go before the final chicane. So the 3-lap shootout is now going to be going down. He's had a very, very good restart from this, from that safety car. 3-lap shootout, Moggs picks up another 3-second time penalty. So what I was saying about him making up a few positions with the guys with the penalties in front of him, now going to be null and voided. Everybody on a set of the softs, other than Mikey, causing already a bit of backlog with those guys out behind him. Larkin wants to try and get a move done on the Aston Martin as soon as possible. Not going to be able to do so at this current moment. Larkin wants to try and make up as much time as possible in front of this Aston Martin. Not going to be able to do anything at the moment. He's going to have to burn a significant amount of battery to try and catch back up with those top 2, with Mikey already 1.5 seconds behind the top 2.
Yeah, he can go on the outside here. Mikey's defending quite hard, but he's entitled to do so there. He can't get the move done there, but Mikey's a poor exit now. Will Larkin go for a send into the hairpin? I believe it's worth it for him. Yeah, he's got it done before the hairpin. Can Mikey fight back? No, he can't really. Larkin's got the move done there, but look how much time he's lost. He's lost 2.2 seconds in 2 sectors. That's incredible.
This might be beneficial for Larkin though, because of Mikey being getting very defensive in terms of that on the harder tyres. 6 seconds worth of penalties. He has got time that he needs to make up. He's got a hope, or Larkin's got a hope that Moki does not get past Mikey. He hasn't so far. Now Larkin needs to try and shoot off into the distance as quick as possible, as fast as possible. Solau setting the fastest lap of the race so far on those soft tyres. 2 more laps left to go. Is Larkin going to be able to snatch this podium position ahead of Moki and even ahead of Rich? Obviously the 6-second penalty is now pulled 2 seconds on Moki and Mikey in the space of a lap.
Moki has to get his move done. DRS will be in play now, but he has to get his move done. He cannot afford to sit behind much longer. And say, Moki not the best exit through there, so he's not going to get move done under the bridge. So he should get it done down pit straight, but you have to say, the gap's almost 3 seconds now, so if Moki gets a penalty here, he's in deep trouble. So Moki's under a bit of pressure now. Jess is another person to pick up a penalty and should move get done on Lawrence there, but yeah, Moki has to get this move done, because if he gets a penalty here, Larkin could still get the podium.
Certainly can. There are yellow flags behind. I'm not sure what that's for, as everyone's just making their way through the hairpin. We're going to see a lead change go down, though. Solan burn down the inside of Papa Squanch before the final chicane. But Papa Squanch, obviously, without that penalty, he's just going to let him breeze by Mike. And Mikey now getting...
what a move by Mike.
Yeah, Moki now getting past Mike. And Mikey going off at the chicane, having to let a few people go. Now that's allowing Moki and Mike to be free. And Rich and Moki, I think it looks like they're going to be inheriting... What? At least one of them is going to be inheriting a podium spot. I don't think Rich is close enough to Salau, though.
No, he isn't. No, he isn't close enough to Salau, but he is close enough to Larkin, so he's going to get the podium here. Salau's having great pace here in the restart, but I think Papa knows, as long as he keeps with him, it doesn't really matter. He's going to win this race anyway. He's got DRS, so unless Papa somehow picks a penalty, which I highly doubt it will, so he's got 2.5 seconds to play with. He's going to win this race. As we're going to see Salau cross line in first place, but Papa, it was my pick for the race win, and I was doing it, and I'm quite happy I got the pick right. But I have to say, he hasn't been straightforward for him. Other guys are threatened. I believe Larkin has had great pace, as has slow, and I believe Moggs would have had a better race, but unfortunately he got one too many instants. But as we approach final chicane here, Papa is going to gain on Slow, but doesn't he do anything about it as he comes through the final two corners, and Papa is going to cross the line, and he's going to take the second race win. It's going to be 40 points out of 40 there for him, and he wins the race. A great drive by him. Salau in second, Larkin in third, but Moki will jump up to third place, and Rich gets fourth, Larkin in fifth, Mikey in sixth, Jess in seventh, Gaza in seventh, sorry, he jumps up a lot of places there, the benefit of no penalties. Jess in eighth, Joe in ninth, Rydog in 10th, got Mike in 11th, so he still gets some points. Moggs does recover to get a point in the end. Benjamin in 13th, Wace 14th, Lawrence in 15th, and Proverb, not the best race for him, in 16th place. So yeah, Mikey well there gets 6th on his dead hards, I think. That's quite impressive to get 6th on his dead hards, but yeah, Papa Squanch is our victor yet again.
Yeah, very well done to Papa Squanch for a second race win in a row. Very, very solid drive from him. Very solid drive from the rest of the guys as well. As I say, Salau and Moki picking up the final podium position. So, in-game driver of the day is voted for is Mikey. Very interesting. Salau picking up the fastest lap of the race, and Wealth Benjamin doing the most overtakes as well. But there are your final classifications so far. Before any stewards inquiries, Papa Squanch on the top step with Salau in second, Moki rounding out the podium positions, Rich in fourth, with Larkin in fifth, Mikey in sixth, Gazman in seventh, Jess in eighth, Joe B in ninth, Rydog rounding out the top 10. I've been Mike in 11th with Moggs, as you say, picking up the final points position. A very disappointing race for the Aston Martin. Probably thinking that he could have done a lot better with that. But on the bright side, he picks up 1 point. He also picks up the point for outside of the top 10 as well for the fastest lap. So congratulations to him for that. Welsh Benjamin, Quays, Lawrence, Proverb are final other classifications coming across the line. And then our DNFers are being Richelieu, Fade, Vitinho, and Quinn. Very, very unfortunate with what happened with all of those. But there, as I say, are your final order for this evening. And Jamie, I've got to go to you for it. Who do you think is going to be your driver of the day for this evening?
I'm going to go a bit left field here. This is the benefit of keeping it clean, not getting on too many instants. Maybe not having the pace for the position, but definitely having the racecraft for it. I'm going to go with Gaza for 7th, for not getting penalties and jumping, but all them placed at the end. I'm going to say, Gaza, well done on that podium. Good race for you. Decent pace. And were you secretly doing cartwheels and that safety car came out knowing you were going to gain so many places at the finish?
Fair enough. You took my one, I'll be honest with you, because he drove a very, very solid race with that. Okay. Well, my driver of the day, who am I going to go with out of that? That's a tough one. There's a few that drove pretty well without any penalties. You know what? I'm going to give it over to someone that did keep a penalty free. Didn't win the race, but got himself on the podium of Moki. I think, very, very solid drive from him in the end. Managed to keep it nice and clean. Was you close to getting any penalties in that race? And did you have any doubts of you getting on that podium after the safety car come out and that you were stuck behind Mikey at the very end of the race? So yeah, that'd be my question over to Moki. And the winner of that, of course, will get the £10 voucher for the Sim Racing Setups driver. From Sim Racing Setups. So make sure you're voting in Discord for that, who you think would be the driver of the day, either Gazaman or to Moki. But that is pretty much going to round it out for round number 2 of Canada. Have you got any final words for the race this evening, Jamie?
Yeah, I fully enjoyed it again. Another great race. Great to see a full lobby and good racing through the field. And this team is promising so much. Obviously, we've had the same guy win the first 2 races, but it's still very tight, and a lot of guys could have won that race today. And this season's going to get better and better. And yeah, just thank you for letting me commentate in this race because it was a great one. Obviously, we're going to have a break next week, and we'll see you all in 2 weeks' time. And I'm looking forward to it.
Certainly will. So thank you to everybody that has tuned in this evening. Make sure you guys are tuning into the P1 tier with either Bryn Mike and Jess, which is literally about to start. So I need to go and get myself into that lobby.
Yeah.
Thank you to everybody that has tuned in, and we'll catch you guys in 2 weeks' time for round number 3 around the Zandvoort City Circuit.